We're looking at two books today, two novels, two apocalyptic novels, written in the late 50s. The first book, we'll look at the latest book that is published in 1959, and that was Alas, Babylon by a writer called Pat Frank. And this novel looks at what happens in the wake of an exchange of nuclear weapons by Russia and the United States. Set in the United States, calamity ensues, of course, but the main characters set out immediately to try to reconstruct a habitable and a sustainable community. So we're following these protagonists along, led by one who has had greatness thrust upon him, and he becomes a leader. Interesting because the writer Pat Frank was connected in the military through the government. So he had acquaintances with government officials. He was a government official himself, but this was very real talk in his workaday life. And as he said, he wanted people to understand what this actually amounted to. I don't think there was any, despite the fact that his protagonists survive and try to regroup, there was no idea here that a nuclear war was winnable with 60 million dead. So, and that's what he wanted to convey. And to an audience in the post-war, this was actually almost civic duty to make this sort of novel. And because you had children hiding in the United States, who had children hiding under their desktop tables with an idea that they could survive such an exchange. Anyway, Pat Frank puts the lie to this, although there certainly would be survivors, and you can follow his in Alas, Babylon. By the way, the title, Alas, Babylon, refers to the book of Revelation, chapter 18, when even Babylon is brought low. So a little message there from Pat Frank to all his fellow countrymen. Second book we're looking at, and this is out of chronological order because I think to stitch these two novels together, it would be beneficial to read the first novel, Alas, Babylon, and then read the second novel by Nevil Shute called On the Beach. And Nevil Shute has written a book set in Australia. It is after an exchange, nuclear exchange, in the Northern Hemisphere. But the radioactive cloud takes several months to reach Australia, killing everything in its path, giving the Australians a brief respite before the inevitable. And Shute puts his characters here. There's an interlude of a sea adventure, but everybody waits for the end, the quiet ending. This is how the world ends. Was that T.S. Eliot? Not with a bang, but with a whimper. This book epitomizes that phrase. So everybody has to make preparations, whether it's by however they choose to decide. That's what it's full of pathos. There's no building for the future. There's no making sustainable communities. It's accepting the inevitable. And Shute is a good writer. He was very popular. He still is popular. You can still read Nevil Shute, and this is one of his best books. So again, the reason I would put it was written before Alas, Babylon, but if you want to follow the action, from when the war occurred until after, these novels should be in reverse chronological order.